Hi, water signs. This is going to be a mini reading for you for elemental water. So, this is going to cover Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio for October 2018. Website members, all of your individuals for 2018 have been posted. You guys know I don't like to post them piecemeal. I like to get them all done at one time and then upload them. And I will be working on your romance and relationship readings here. I'm also going to be posting up a open reading for you guys on the site. So this is a general reading for the water signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces for October 2018. The big news, tomorrow Pluto goes direct. He has been retrograde in Capricorn for the past 5 months. And so this is going to be kind of a big thing. It's an outer planet, and typically we don't necessarily feel the effects of the outer planets very much. It tends to be more so of a worldwide or a generational thing. So everybody born within a certain time frame, 20 years, between 20, will all share the same Pluto sign. So people born, I think it's from 1957 up to 1970 something, early 70s, I believe. It's like 18 or 19 years, I believe. All share the sign of Pluto in Virgo, right? But Pluto is in Capricorn. And so the last time, it takes 284 years for Pluto to make a complete orbit around the sun. And so the last time Pluto was in Capricorn was 240 some odd years ago, right when America became a country. So I think this is going to be something rather pivotal that can be felt or at least noticed, or will have some effect on not only the country but on a worldwide scale. So with that being said, I've already done some shuffling. We will be clarifying with the La Vida Sibilas, and we will you'll get a chance to formulate an angel answer, a question for the angel answer. So the card that presented itself is the Page of Pentacles. Okay. Then we have a Three of Wands. Now that's interesting because in the elemental air, I saw this card come out. And then here's a Seven of Cups in the same position, no less. And I think pretty much for everybody, no matter what your sun sign, your moon, or your rising sign, I do feel that this Pluto going direct is going to be, everyone's going to be touched and or affected. Now, when I say affected, it doesn't always mean anything negative. So don't assume that. Affected just means that in some way, shape, or form, either you or somebody that you know, or through 6 degrees of separation, will be touched by this particular aspect as it continues to move on. The next row, we have the Two of Cups. We have a Page of Swords. Now that's interesting. And now we have the Hanged Man. Well, okay. And we have a Knight of Cups. So I have 3 court cards. So this tells me that there may be 3 people involved in the situation. This is Venus and Scorpio. This represents the aspect of Venus and Scorpio, the planet placement. This itself represents Pisces. And this is Cancer, but I can't remember which Cancer. This particular card can represent all 3. Okay. So we have a lot of water happening here in this particular reading. There's a Queen of Wands, 4 court cards. Wow. And then there's a 9 of Wands. Isn't that interesting? And I don't have any repeater numbers. Well, here it is. The sun is over everything. And what does the sun do? Well, the sun shows what our soul is here to do. That's first and foremost, how we shine and gain attention. It also determines our willpower and our determination, how we move forward in life. It also, it's that gumption. It gives us gumption, the sun does. And then what it does is it illuminates things for you. So the sun will shed light and illuminate things for you. So I think this is the most positive card in the deck, the sun card, no matter what tarot card deck that you're using. So I feel that at this particular moment in time, some of you have either are either feeling good, or you know that you are moving in the right direction. Maybe you are gaining that attention that you've been trying to get, be this in a work aspect or even in a relationship. I find it very interesting that there are 4 court cards. So this tells me that there are perhaps 4 people involved in this situation, but there are definitely lots of news and messages here. The 2 pages, these are 2 different types of messages. One may be more financial in nature. The Page of Pentacles can be that idea of becoming a student, learning a new skill. It is a grounded energy. It is a message about actually doing something. It is just that, a message. The Page of Swords is kind of tricky. The page usually will bring news of some kind of either definitely a new message, but this message, because it's a sword, can be a message centered around thoughts, perceptions, beliefs, and ideas. But this page can sometimes be quite ugly. And what I mean by that is he can deliver ugly news. It may be true news, but the news may be very painful or hurtful. It could sometimes be the idea that someone has said something to you that really wasn't quite nice. Maybe that's the character of the individual. But whenever I see like 2 pages, it just tells me that there's 2 different styles of communication. And then we have this Knight of Cups. And I find this to be the most interesting because this particular knight he also brings news and messages, and he bears gifts. Okay, they just tell you something's on the way. This guy may show up with the gift for you. But yet, that gift may be heartfelt and sentimental, but it may not have as much attachment to it as you think it does. This particular knight can be rather flaky and kind of hesitant, the kind to be in love with love. It can be an offer presented to you, but it's not yet a fully fledged offer. Okay, there's still something tentative about it. We see that he hasn't stepped over that stream yet. Okay. I feel that for some of you, you've been waiting, you've been doing something and waiting for this message to come in. There is a confusion here over some type of partnership. Now we have the 3 of Wands, and the 3 of Wands is typically the card of sales and negotiations, contracts. It speaks about, in a sense, kind of setting your ships out to sea, making the decision that you're going to go ahead and move forward with something. But this 7 of Cups here kind of tells me that you have a lot of choices on your plate, and you aren't quite sure exactly what thing perhaps is best, or what thing is the most important. How do you go about putting this Page of Coins together with this 3 of Wands and then attaining all of those things that you desire? So this card can be about the idea of having too many choices to choose from, but also being fearful about making choices, right? Which one is going to be the right one? I do feel that at the moment, I think for some of you, this has in effect kind of given you pause here, this Hanged Man. I don't know if some of you are waiting or sending a message to this Queen of Wands. Perhaps you could be going into business with this person. You've sent out, you know, some products, or you've shipped out something, or you are deciding you're going to go ahead and move forward. You have sent the message to this Queen of Wands. Now, even though this is a a water reading, you yourself, even if you are a Cancer Sun, can embody the energy of this Queen of Wands. And typically she's going to be somebody who's a real go-getter. She knows exactly where she's going, exactly what she wants to do. She tends not to dilly-dally. In other words, she makes decisions and she's rather quick about it. She's fun. She can be temperamental. She's highly sexual. And she can sometimes show up as a businesswoman and or an entrepreneur. But yet we see this 9 of Wands here. So what I find to be interesting is this 3 of Wands with this Queen gives me a 4 of Wands. But then when I take the wand that the Queen, because in effect she's holding the Ace of Wands, we see this 9 of Wands on the other side. And this card can be the idea of someone being obstinate and stubborn, someone who's assuming that they already know how the situation is going to turn out. This card can also be the idea that there's a battle coming ahead. Okay, maybe there's somebody else. We have these 4 cards here. Maybe you're going to have to do battle with somebody else. Maybe you've already done battle with the person. And perhaps maybe you're waiting to see if the person's going to reappear. Okay. What I want to do is I can't look at any of these court cards as they relate to the Hanged Man. The only thing I can look at is the 7 of Cups, the 2 of Cups, and the 9 of Wands. 3, 7, 2, and the 9 next to this Hanged Man. These court cards are telling me that these are either people, the possibility of, 4 people involved in the situation. I think you're waiting on, sometimes I see this with this card as some kind of contract. You're waiting for this contract, the news of this contract to come in. Maybe you've already gotten some of the news and it wasn't exactly what you wanted to hear. And so now we have to stop and think, do I really want to go through with this? Or what the hell does that mean? So we see that there was some confusion, and then something has come in with an offer. I think there's already been some between these two, either people or messages. There's already been a bit of, I don't know, digging in, obstinacy, or going, I've heard this before. You've said this before. I've been through this before. That's what this, I think, Hanged Man could also be. This idea that something seems awfully familiar about this. Okay. Let me stop really and look at this from another angle. Not necessarily perspective, but this time the word I'm getting is angle. So let me see what this 3 of Wands is saying to us, if we can. Well, funny, it opened up right to the page. Now, sometimes 2 pages will show up when there's been a short-term illness. Maybe you took something and then somehow or another, this is always relates to me as a mental fog, maybe having bad dreams. Sometimes this can be about addiction. Maybe you drank too much, or whatever the case may be. But it doesn't explain to me this 2 of Cups. Hey, let's do it. Let's get together. Sure. Now we go forth to present this new partnership. So if there has been a short-term illness, then it could be that, again, somebody's having some kind of mental, I don't want to say delusions, but could be. But it could also be the idea of somebody who's got too many irons in the fire, and maybe they're not able to think clearly. It could also be the idea that maybe you have vertigo, or you're having migraine headaches, or you're suffering from a back ailment or hip ailment or leg and foot ailment. All right? And you're in traction right now. I don't know. Everybody's got a different story. So let's see what this 3 of Wands tells us here. And then I'm going to look at these cards, because it just feels as though it's a situation that you've already been through. Nothing about the 3 of Wands. That you've already been through. It looked as though something occurred and things got a little murky. Then it kind of cleared up for you, but then another message came in and now everything is, it's this whole row. As if to say it's a, not necessarily a delay, or that there's a hold. It's just a tough going, okay? That's what I'm getting, that it's just a kind of a tough thing for you to work through or to deal with. It's not as tough as you think it is, but it's just been kind of taxing for you, okay? So let's see what the Seven of Cups says, if anything. Nothing. Two of Cups with this Hanged Man, and I don't think there's anything there. The only thing that's left to look at will be this Nine of Wands. And then we're just going to pull cards on this because... Now, the Sun is here, and it's over the whole reading. So there is a reference to the Two of Cups with the Sun. It speaks of great love and shared understanding. Two people, a couple, will enjoy many blessings together. Now, this could be in business as well. It tells of great love and deep understanding that is shared and enjoyed, and it also tells of many blessings to come. There's something about this with that meaning that doesn't quite sit with me. So let's see if we can find out, oh, anything on the Nine of Wands. And then we're going to pull cards. Okay, here we go. Well, that could make some sense. Because sometimes this card will come up when it speaks about oceans. Okay? And this could be, like I said, this could be about a trip. We see this here. Okay? But again, the Nine of Wands is talking about being with the Sun. It says, it denotes a business or personal interest pertaining to either properties or travel or vacation destinations. Property management may offer the outlet for which you may be craving. Now, I don't know if this whole right row, that's my future row, my future column, I'm sorry. You know, and there's lots of different landscapes here, so it may be some kind of property issue here. I don't see, what's interesting is that in all of these, in the background, way in the background is that house. I mean, but it's so small you can almost see it. So this could be the idea that maybe you've been planning ahead, trying to, you're not exactly sure, and then finally you're ready to go through, but something either something changes or something is not as it appears to be, or something, you were told something that's not as it appears to be. Okay? So let's see. I want to look at, oh, come on. Let's look at this, I want to look at this Page of Swords because it's right in the center. Then I'm going to look at this Nine of Wands. The Militare. That's interesting falling on that card. Now, that card speaks to relationship with law enforcement. Typically, this page can represent that. Some kind of legal news, or someone who's in the profession of law. But in terms of just looking at it, again, we see somebody struggling to get up a hill. And at the top of that hill, you see that fort. Where is it? There. Okay? Again, which speaks to some kind of safety and or refuge. Well, there's the letter. We see that all over. And the Lamante. Well. You know, this could be the idea of somebody being in prison. Pisces rules the 12th house. And this could be saying that there is news on the way of somebody who was incarcerated, who had some problem with the law or skirmish with the law. Maybe you've been holding it down while the person's been, you know, otherwise disposed. We put it like that. And I would think doing a successful job of it as well. And now, I don't know, maybe some of you are having second thoughts about rejoining forces with that individual. Maybe they did have a drug and alcohol problem. Maybe. I want to look at this Hanged Man. Amalato. Wow. The sick person. We talked about that. Ah, there's a Gran Signore. And Dinari. Well, obviously, whatever this thing is, it's again, it doesn't read like there's a real delay. It just feels like it's just a slight pause. I'm looking at these wands. That's what they're telling me. But we have, you know, maybe there are two men here. We see that there's lots of people. And then there's some issue about maybe confusion around money, finances, also property, personal possessions, something very dear to you. That also can be the idea of security. It looks like maybe you feel as though maybe your security may be in jeopardy because of this Gran Signore here. The Gran Signore is like the lord of the manor. He owns property. He's well known around town. He's held in high esteem and high respect, high regard. Alegria. So there's obviously something that we've been through before with either family or friends, or either family or friends are saying to us, you know, we already know how it's going to turn out. There's an argument, a fight. I think that's what that is. There's the warrior, the fear. This could also be the warrior, the fear about saying, hey, I'm getting ready to get back with old boy, such and such and such. Honestly, it looks like that does not occur. We see that the tears and the anxiety and the fear, worry, they end. This is a major separation from something that you may, again, you may be worried about, or you think it's going to occur again, or you feel you already know, or maybe there already has been a battle. But I don't think it's anything you should worry about. And I feel that that's why the sun has come out over this. I think this card here, the Hanged Man is saying to, if there is a slight pause, use this time wisely to try to get to the truth of the situation, so that when this offer comes back around, you won't be faced with this again. You're worried about it, but how you think is really going to determine the outcome of this. You do have the sun to help you see clearly what it is that you feel confused about or think you are confused about. And what I always think about this card is that the figure of the Hanged Man is someone who put himself in that position, right? Sacrifice, maybe playing the martyr, maybe putting yourself in situations where people have always taken advantage of you, stolen from you. Maybe you have a habit of taking in the three-legged, you know, one-eyed dog all the time, and it hasn't gone well for you. Now the person is returning, or whatever the case may be. But nobody put the Hangman in that position but himself. And so if you put yourself in that position, and if only you are responsible for that, then if you can see that, then you can understand what next move you need to do. You positively can change that Nine of Wands. You positively can. I mean, shit. Where is it? You're holding the damn stick. You got all the power. So, you know, you can change it. The question would be not to rush and not to become too confused, perhaps, and or too emotional. All right, formulate your question for the angel answer. And let's see what it has to say. I mean, you can love people without being a doormat. You can be kind to people without giving up too much of yourself. And you positively have the right to say no if you feel it's not in your best interest. I mean, this card says romance. And that's quite interesting. And we see a whole bunch of stuff happening there. Here's my book. There it is. Let's see what this has to say. It's quite interesting. A very important relationship is about to enter or has recently entered your life. And maybe that's what we were saying over there. This is the romance you have been waiting for. Like all partnerships, there may be ups and downs. But don't let that deter you or shake your confidence. Have faith that love is coming into your life to stay. If your question was about a current relationship, you can expect the parties to become closer to one another. Maybe that's talking about the end of a fight. Whatever that thing is that you were worried about, or that you're fearful of, or that you were afraid to, whatever, it ends with the morte, you know? Well, okay. If your question was about a current relationship, you can expect the parties to become closer to one another. Past disagreements, there we saw it, will fade away and trust will grow. All relationships have peaks and valleys. This card indicates an upward movement to a new level of dedication and intimacy. This can include engagement, marriage, or a form of recommitment to one another. I mean, if the person wasn't any good for you and that shit ends, that's a good thing. So, I mean, you know, been there, done that. So that's what I have for you, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, for October. I hope those messages helped. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. And until next time, namaste.